So I saw someone on Twitter talking about how they only spend a couple of hours, like maybe 2 hours, preparing for their adventures. I don't know who it was. It might have been like Jim Davies or Sly Flourish. I can't remember who. But I think that's crazy because my ratio is about 1-to-1. 1 hour spent prepping, 1 hour spent playing. And so today I'm about to do some D&D prep and I wanted to do kind of a time lapse, a best of. My name, hey, I'm Matthew Perkins. We're talking about Dungeons & Dragons. And I'm going to set a timer on my phone, 4 hours, because we're going to play for 4 hours on Sunday. And I'm just going to spitball my ideas. At the moment, I have nothing. I have no ideas written down. I have some ideas in my head, but I don't have anything written down and nothing is set in stone. So let's just see where this goes. Let me just, 4 hours, there it is. Okay, and begin. So what I'm working on is session 2 of my homebrew campaign. The party is chasing after a pirate that they want revenge on named Tully. They hate Tully and they chose to go after Tully. I gave them 5 targets, 5 people that had wronged them, and they chose to go after Tully because Tully is bad. So I want them to apprehend Tully in a treasure situation. She's getting the treasure somehow. So I've got a whiteboard here. I'm just going to work this out. I want this to be like a 2-part session, or a 2-part dungeon kind of thing. So I know the end point. The end point of this first session is going to be a confrontation with Tully. So I'm just going to write end Tully. So I want to work backwards from this. We've got Tully at the end. She's the boss battle. Now Tully is, we've got to work out who Tully is. Work out who Tully is as a person, as a human. We're not actually working out what kind of human she is because she's not a human, she's a character. And even then, she's a gnome. All right, I got heaps of index cards here. Let's say that yellow is going to be for characters. If it's on a yellow card, it's going to be a character. So Tully betrayed the party for money. She was bought off and she led them into a trap where they were definitely going to get arrested. So I suppose her motivation for hunting treasure is greed. So I'm going to write down greed here. When she betrayed them, she said, nothing personal, it's just business. So she is, I think, pragmatic. She's probably a sociopath. Pragmatic sociopath. She's not the captain. I don't think she's a leader. She's probably she's the first mate. She's the first mate. Okay. I don't know what her ship is called. I don't have any names for all that kind of crap. But they're going to fight Tully at the end. And she's not going to be a solo mob. She's going to have minions with her. She's going to have a posse. A landing party, because the whole crew isn't going to go get the treasure. Some people are going to stay back and protect the ship, and everyone else is going to go get the treasure. She's so pragmatic that I think that she would be able to negotiate with the players, so she has to be willing to barter. Yeah, and she's not brave, you know what I mean? She's ruthless, but she's willing to flee. She'll run if she needs to, willing to flee. And ruthless. No Ruth. All right, so there's some basic info on Tully. I'm just going to put this on the floor, and I'm going to come back to it later. So there's got to be some kind of trial in between the start and fighting Tully. So I don't know what that is yet. I think the shtick of my style is that I don't like a lot of the boring stuff. If I don't think it's necessary, I'm gonna cut it out. So travel time, we can just teleport and I'll give a few sentences just to say from here to there. But we've got to start somewhere. And what we're coming off the back of is the players have just spent 4 years in jail. And I said, at the end of 4 years, you're going to escape. You guys decide how you get out of there. Maybe the colony collapsed, maybe someone broke you out. You guys decide what's narratively interesting for your group, and that's how you got out of jail. So boiled into that, I'm also going to have them do the research for how to find Tully. I'm going to start at the point where they've just found the information. No, that sucks. I'm going to start at the point where they've just gotten to the actual bit where they get to start fighting and rolling dice. And maybe we'll do all the finding information stuff just as a little prologue beforehand. And this is like a 3 to 4 hour session. So maybe, how many scenes do I need? 5? 5 scenes? I think that's too many. I'm gonna look at pictures. I'm gonna look at pictures of pirates. I thought this wouldn't be helpful, but it's kind of like I'm talking out my ideas with someone, even though I'm just talking to myself like a bloody loon. Do we want to be on a ship? Do they confront Tully on a ship? Ships are limited. We're only in there, like, what are they going to do? There's not a lot to explore. I want it to be vast and interesting. And very beautiful. My world's weird. The world of the Quorum that we're playing in, that place is strange. And that's the main defining characteristic. Things are weird. It's fairy tale weird. And I had this idea of maybe like, it's like a ship graveyard. But what it is an island made of ships. How do they know where Tully's going to be? They find a navigator or someone that knows how to get to the treasure island that Tully's on. So there's a navigator that I've got to work out. So what if this island only appears at certain times? It's like every 30 years. Yeah, so it's a 30-year island. Maybe the navigator is like an astrologer or a historian. Yeah, historian. And the reason the island only appears every now and then, it can only be found. It's not like mystical where like, ooh, you get lost if you try and find it. Maybe it actually does disappear. Maybe it sinks. It's a sinking, moving island. And it's made of shipwrecks. It's made of the debris of a bunch of ships. And the treasure is some kind of hoard. A pirate hoard? No. Something more legitimate. But there's heaps of treasure in there. There's heaps of ships. Every ship that's ever been lost is in this hoard, this floating island. And it's made of debris. It's kind of supernatural. It floats and it resurfaces. And the reason that it's hard to find is because only the best navigators or astronomers, well, the one that means actual science, only the best of those can predict where it's going to go by predicting like the currents, because it sinks underground and then it resurfaces for like a few hours every 30 years. So let's say 8 hours. It is only up for 8 hours. No, let's say 12 hours. But that means I'm going to have to track time. Time's a factor, so track time. Okay, so the prologue info that they get is that where's Tully? She's at an island. The island is made of ships, sunken ships. Every sunken ship in the world goes here. The treasure is some kind of like great hoard in there or some kind of great ship. I don't know. We'll work out what ships are in there. Ooh, every room in this dungeon is actually a different ship they're on. And I can give each of them a cool ship name. I'm going to look up, I'll do this later actually, because it doesn't matter what they're called. I'm just going to generate online with like Donjon or something, ship names. Yeah. So the actual kind of like topology of this, the layout of this dungeon, I kind of see them, they're not going down corridors and stuff, they're actually climbing down and through stuff. They're kind of like spelunking through this trash heap and going down into the island because it's just a mess of wood and stuff. Maybe like each ship they go to takes an hour of time. That's how I track time. Every step they take takes an hour. No, that's not good. Every step they take takes half an hour. And I'll give them advanced knowledge, depending on how they roll, of some of the ships, so they have some forewarning of what's in there. And that will let them know whether there's actually going to be good treasure in there or whether there's going to be some kind of danger, like a hint of what's in each room. That'll be fun. I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll work it out. So the thing is, it's a dungeon, and I'm not going to draw out the map for them, so I can move these rooms around and paste it any way I like. So let's just say 4 rooms. 4 times rooms. That's good. I've got to make another character card for the navigator. So if Tully's going in there for greed, the navigator, I want to be there for a different reason. So he's there for knowledge. He wants some kind of artifact or glory? I don't know. So not greed. I'll put not greed. And this is kind of weird because Critical Role's doing like a pirate thing at the moment or like a ship thing. This isn't even all related to that. That's a coincidence. They've got a turtle, and that would be 2 on the nose, I think, for me to do. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is the opposite of a turtle is a cat. Everybody knows that. It's basic math. Okay, so that will do for the navigator at the moment. We'll flesh him out when we know a little bit more. So I'm going to put him on the floor as well. We're going to do some rooms. And remember, when I say rooms, I mean ships. Each bit of this is an entire ship or parts of a ship that are left in the wreckage. If they go into some rooms, they might already be cleared. Some rooms can be safe. Oh, do you know what? I can color code this. So green is going to be safe. And the first ship is going to be just a safe room, I think. No, that sucks. I don't want to start with a safe room. Realistically, what I could do, because I don't want to design like 100 rooms or something like that, trying to map this out. So I might just make, if I want them to do 5 rooms, I might make like 7 or 8 and just shift them around depending on their choices. And if they don't go down one rabbit hole, I'll just kind of like slot it in when I need to. So this is what I drew. So I've got kind of descending, right? So blue means it's some kind of challenge, some kind of test. Red is a combat encounter, and green is a safe room. And we're going to start on a challenge of some kind, and we're going to end on a fight with Tully. Safe rooms actually aren't very interesting. Maybe they'll be necessary later. Let's get rid of the early safe rooms. There's only going to be safe rooms towards the end. So these 2 safe rooms are gone. So each of these rooms is a different kind of ship. But there's got to be some interesting stuff along the way. Because the person that got intel on what ships are which, maybe I'll give them information about like an important ship that went missing at some point. An explorer, not an explorer, a pilgrim, a pilgrimage, a saint. Yeah. There's a saint's remains somewhere in this place. I want to do a kind of fight where they're not very tough enemies, but I want to separate the party by like, it's like a prison ship and like the gate closes. So we've got 2 of the party members that are stuck behind a wall and 2 others that are fighting. Got 12 ships and they only need to do six of them. Okay, I'm going to do that ship name thing and see if I get any ideas. So I'm sitting on the floor now because I'm a child. And what I've got here, this is my whiteboard and this is the dungeon. We're going to work our way down and the colors correspond to the colors. These are the names that I've generated. We're going to work our way down all the way to Tully. So I've got these colored cards that correspond to those colors, incidentally, and I'm going to just assign some names to some rooms and just see where we go. So what if one of these, have you ever read the Live Ship books? It's about these living figureheads on boats. One of these challenges could involve the figurehead being alive. I think that would be cool. I don't know which one. The Revenge? No. The Salvation? No. The Revenge can be Tully. So the Revenge is up there. And the Salvation, that can be the one with the Saint. The Duke William. Yeah. And the actual figurehead thinks he is Duke William, who was a person, I guess. So this is what I've got for the Duke William figurehead. Okay, so these are all written. I've just kind of divvied them out any kind of way I like. But now I'm going to arrange them in this tree. Okay, so it's been about an hour and 5 minutes, and this is where I am. So I've got the shape of the dungeon. All right, that's enough stuffing around on the floor. All right, so I'm really into the saint one. So it's the Salvation, and I think what's going to happen is there's going to be somewhat a trade-off. If they take remains of the saint, if they actually manage to carry some of the remains of this saint away, they're going to get a level up. Because I do milestone leveling, right? So they're just going to be able to level up a little bit earlier than everyone else. And maybe that'll give them an extra boost that they need in this boss fight. This saint, whoever they are, Saint... starts with a B. Saint Bernard. That's so stupid. What challenge is going to be in there? There's a challenge somehow. Okay, I like the idea that when they get in here, their weight kind of shifts it somehow. Like, because it's an unstable structure, this teepee of bloody boats and bits. Maybe a skill challenge? A hard skill challenge. They have to get 5 successes before 3 failures. So what kind of complications do you hit on a boat? So I need like 7. I need 7 things here. Or maybe I can get the players to think of some kind of complication. Their final success that they're going to need, I'm going to make that be the Saint's Bones. So Saint's Bones, and it's just going to be, they can take an auto success, or they can try and roll a religion check or something to try and get the bones. Yeah, so if they get the Saint's Bones, that player gets a level up. Okay, so that's the Salvation completely done. Okay, well, let's do the Tully fight, because that's definitely going to happen. The Revenge is a pirate hunter. It's like a military ship. And they had just cleared out. They had their biggest haul ever when they sunk. One of my players pointed out something in one of the books, Volos or something. We were flicking through it, and he pointed out a flail snail. the CR3 monster, and he said, "Oh, I've always wanted to fight one of those." So I'm going to put a flail snail in there. I don't know what they do, but it'll be kind of like Smaug in the Hobbit, just coated in treasure and stuff and kind of armored. It's just going to have the regular stats. And it'll be using bits of the Horde, like maybe weapons that are in the Horde, as its weapons, like they're attached to its doobie whackers. There's a flail snail in there with Tully. And maybe they walk in on Tully fighting it. No, because what will happen is that they will see Tully fighting it and then they will just ignore it until the fight's over. I don't want that. So they'll see Tully, they're going through the treasure, and the flail snail will appear partway through. And it's unaligned. It's not on any side. It's not on any side. So who does it... I'm going to make the flail snail an AI deck just to determine what it's going to do. If it's going to attack this party or attack that party. I've got this deck that says AI on it. And what they can do is we just shuffle them up, except the top card that says AI, and then you just flip the whole deck up. This one says attack far character, so the furthest character. I've got attack closest character of any party, attack the closest NPC, or attack the closest player. I'm actually going to look at the stat block now and work out if it has like a big attack, because maybe I'll make a card for do ridiculous attack. There's my flail boy. Oh, he's got so much. Anti-magic shell. That's cool. Okay, it's got 2 special abilities. It's got shell defense and then scintillating shell. So I've just added shell defense where it draws into its shell and scintillating shell. It's like its short rest ability. And since it can only use this once per fight, you tear this up. Tear this card up when you're done with it. Okay, that's the AI deck done for the final fight. I think to balance this, what's going to happen is Tully and her goons are going to say, they're going to fight for a bit. And I think her goons are going to be minions because this is crazy. They're going to fight for a bit. And then they'll say, no, we've got to take down this thing together. But Tully's going to betray them again in that fight. But they might, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, this is cool. All right, so there was another specific combat encounter that I wanted to do where they get cut off. Get a marching order, and I'll get a saving throw from one of the 2 people in the middle. No, I will get a saving throw from the 2 people in the middle. And if they fail, then they take a little bit of damage. And they are on whichever side of the gate they're on. If they succeed, they take no damage, and they get to choose which side of the gate they're on. Okay, marching order save versus gate. It's a prison ship. Undead prisoners. There's going to be some undead on the other side. Not zombies, because they take forever to fight and kill. Not skeletons, because they're so wussy and uninteresting. Maybe like one of the other ones, the ones that start with G. So one of the G ones. Maybe one of those, and then some skeletons. So like a ghast or something. Are they tough? And plus skellies. They could lift the gate. They could pick it. They could disable it. It's got to be modular. It's got to change. Because if 3 people choose to be on one side and only one person's in there with this whole fight, then it has to be fewer enemies. So I'll do that on the fly. So I'm up to designing just like the crappy, non-essential encounters. And I just had a fun idea. I was looking at sea monsters and I found the Kua Toa, like these fishmen, little fishy boys. I looked in the DM's book, the book for the DM, and I realized that my players don't have a bag of holding. And I love the bag of holding. So I was trying to think of how they would, the Kuatoa, why would they worship a bag of holding? What's mystical about it to them? I'd like to think that they sacrifice to it. They put things into it. Anything they find, they put into it that's valuable to them. And they want to put the players in there. And if the players kill these Kuatoa or manage to somehow steal their bag of holding, when they empty it, it is going to be full of bodies. What else is fun? That's a sea creature. I've got some undead. What about some other adventurers? No, that'll be the final fight. Maybe a solo monster. Maybe like a solo animal? Sea hag? Maybe a sea hag. Let's look her up. Let's look up a sea hag. Sea hags are really cool. I don't want to put it too early though. They can just drop someone to 0 hit points immediately. And how's this? Okay, so the hag That can be, if they try and rest somewhere where they're not meant to rest, then the hag will be the encounter that tries to like drag them away. How much time do I have? Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so I still need to do some puzzles. Oh man, I wanted to do my writing at an hour and a half. I've got to do 2 puzzles, I think. Maybe 1 puzzle, 1 challenge. What have I got? So what do we have? We've got a skill challenge with that one. We've got a social challenge with that one. What are they going to start on? So only 2 challenges here. What are they going to start on? I know what I want to start off with. I want to start off with them diving. And I'll make a route, like, left, right, middle. And because they can only breathe for so long. And they have to hold their breath and try and make their way through it. We don't need this anymore. We mapped it out properly. Shouldn't use my hand for that. I'm going to map this out kind of like I mapped out that tree of where they go. It's just going to be a mini version of that. Maybe like just foreshadowing the kind of place they're in. And it's going to be an underwater kind of cabin that they have to navigate their way through. Okay, so I don't know how this is going to go. I haven't play tested it. I don't care enough to play test it, and I'll adjust it on the fly on the day if I need to. The players are smart enough to send the person with the highest constitution down there. So here's my map. The idea is they start up here, and they kind of branch down. There are a couple of dead ends just to throw them off, and this is where they want to get to. What I don't want is I don't want any of the ones that are dead ends to be ones where you take damage, because finding a dead end, that's punishment on its own. Ooh, one of them has treasure. Okay, yeah. This pink one, that's danger. That one's air, and that one is going to be treasure. Okay, so that's that one done. The Lightfoot is done. That is a little puzzle that'll exhaust them a little bit, and now I just need a trap to put somewhere. I think I'm doing too much. I think I'm not using my time very well at the moment. I'd probably be going faster if I wasn't recording this damn video. Okay, so I know the trap that I want to do. Random trap they can come up against. It can be like barnacles and spores and stuff. It's going to deal poison damage. And I want to give players the option on how to deal with it. It's a DC 14 acrobatics check to try and just climb your way around it. But if you fail that, then that describes you falling into it, right? And you're more exposed. Still take the same damage, but you are poisoned. If you fail the intelligence check, which is also a DC 14, then you aren't poisoned, you just take the damage. That's all the rooms done. All the rooms are done now. Haha. Also, I found $20 under the couch. Yes. So I've got a lot of writing to do, it seems, and I've got about 40 minutes or so to do it. Here's my big list, my to-do list I just wrote up for myself. I've got to write the ship cards that I'm going to give to the players. I've got to write a meta story because my game has this weird framing device. I've got to write the cutaway scenes and tell the players what the other villains are up to while this is happening. I've got to, throughout the dungeon, I've got to signpost what Tully's been up to a little bit, and her path, the path she took. I've got to signpost the snail a little bit, so it's not a complete, shocker. I've got to work out how I'm going to roleplay the navigator, because I've never played that character before. I've got to go online and find some maps, and I've got to print the stats for all the monsters, so I have it on hand. So I've got about 40 minutes in my timeline to do that, but I don't feel like doing it now. So what I'm going to do is just stop, and tomorrow, which is Saturday, day before the game, I'm just going to spend 40 minutes, just trying to do all that, and I bet I go over time. So I'll see you tomorrow. So it's the next day. I didn't do any of that. I didn't do much creative, but I did a bunch of admin stuff. So I made the maps. I made some battle maps for some ships. I printed out all of the stat blocks. I'll show you. Let me get them. I printed out every encounter just using my custom stat blocks and put them each in their own little clip. So they're all separated and organized. I drew battle maps. This is how I draw battle maps. They're just colored marker. I also made these little cards to keep track of which ships people have been to and also let the players know what's on them. So we've got the name on the front, this is the Fiona, and on the back, this one says it's a prototype for a new, larger kind of transport ship. So just a little sentence just to differentiate them. So this one's the prison ship, this one's the transport ship, etc., etc., etc. Made a couple of changes to the ideas that I had yesterday, and I had these, I don't know if I had them in my sleep, I didn't dream about it, but I woke up and things just started clicking. So the fight where the gate comes down and separates the party, there has to be a secondary goal in there somehow. So what it's going to be is it's going to be a torture chamber, and there's going to be Iron Maidens, and there's going to be skeletons in there that they're not attacking, but they're trying to drag the players into the Iron Maidens. So that's kind of spooky. And rather than having an undead bad guy in there, big bad guy like the G undead, whatever I was going to have in there, ghast, whatever. I'm going to have a sea spawn with like an undead barnacle man with an eel coming out of his shoulder or something grabby. I also changed what Tully's after. So Tully isn't after treasure. That's kind of crap. Instead, what she's after, and she's not after like a magical relic, she's after a map of the world, because this merchant trader that they're going down to find, I guess, a trading ship. I'm going to make that up on the day, tomorrow. But yeah, so they've got a map of the known world, which is priceless knowledge. Yeah. But a whole bunch of other stuff I'm feeling pretty confident about. Like, I don't feel the need to write it down or even flesh it out in my mind. I think I'm happy just to prepare to improvise that stuff. So descriptions, stories, anything to do with characters, I'm going to play it by ear and just see how I go. Tell you what, that whole thing was pretty helpful for me. It was really good just to talk out my ideas. It was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. If you like it, hit subscribe and comment and all the other stuff that everybody else says at the end of their videos. Just do all that crap. Hey, I've got a blog. I talk about this kind of stuff there. It's MatthewPerkins.net. I've got a subreddit, which is rMatthewPerkins, and I'm on Twitter, which is @mperkinsdm. So yeah, I will see you next time. We're going to be back with campaign diaries and all kinds of stuff. There are more videos every 2 weeks. Great. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.